So, what if I told you that every single word in the English language, I mean everything, from a simple hello to the most complicated science textbook, is built from the same tiny set of tools? Yeah, think of it like a massive Lego set, but with only a few different shapes of bricks. Today, we're going to open that box and see exactly what those fundamental building blocks are. And here it is, the magic number. It's just 8. That's it. That's all it takes to build everything. 8 core components are behind every poem you've ever read, every conversation you've ever had, every set of instructions you've ever followed. It's actually a pretty simple system when you break it all down. So, what do all English words have in common? From a tiny word like run to something crazy like supercalifragilisticexpialidocious? Well, the answer is that every single one of them fits into one of these 8 categories. We call them the parts of speech. So let's meet the crew, our 8 builders: nouns, verbs, adjectives, adverbs, pronouns, prepositions, conjunctions, and interjections. Each one has a very specific job to do, and by the end of this, you're going to see exactly how they all snap together to create meaning. Okay, every good structure needs a solid foundation, right? So, we're going to start with the 2 most essential blocks, the ones you absolutely have to make even the simplest sentence. These are the core pieces that hold everything else up. On one side, you've got nouns. These are the what of our sentence. And on the other, you've got verbs. They're the action. You really need both to have a complete thought. One names the thing, and the other gives that thing something to do. Let's zoom in on our first block, the noun. This is our naming tool. It's the part of speech that slaps a label on everything in our world: people, places, animals, you name it. Here's a little pro tip. If you can put the word the or a in front of it, it's almost always a noun. For example, in a simple sentence like, "This is a boy," the word boy is our noun. It's the what of the sentence. It's the thing we're actually talking about. Super simple and totally foundational. Now for the other half of our foundation, the verb. This is our action block. It's the engine of the sentence, the word that tells us what's actually happening. Without a verb, a sentence is just a boring, static list of things. And look at this. The verb here is walked. Without it, you just have Ricky and school. 2 separate nouns just sitting there. Walked is the engine that connects them and creates the action. It brings the whole scene to life. Okay, so we've got our noun and our verb. The foundation is set. But let's be honest, it's a little plain, right? Now it's time to bring in the decorator blocks. The pieces that add all the detail, the color, and the style to our basic structure. First up is the adjective. Think of these as our descriptive blocks. Their whole job is to add color, texture, and detail to our nouns. They answer the question, what kind? This is how we make our language really vivid and specific. Just notice how one word here changes everything. Rohan is a boy is just a fact. But when we add the adjective smart, we suddenly get a much richer picture in our heads. We've just added a really crucial layer of detail to our noun, boy. All right, next up is the adverb. Now, if adjectives modify our things, adverbs modify our actions. They describe our verbs, telling us how, when, or where something is happening. They answer the question, how is it done? Let's start with a super basic sentence. He eats. We've got our noun, well, pronoun, but we'll get to that, and our verb. We know what's happening, but we have no idea how. And boom, this shows you the power of an adverb perfectly. By adding quickly, we suddenly have this vivid mental image. The action itself, eating, hasn't changed, but our whole understanding of it just completely transformed. All right, we have our foundation, and we've added some decorative details. Now let's move on to the final set of blocks. These are the ones that connect all the pieces into a really sturdy structure and add those little bursts of personality and emotion. First up, we have pronouns. The easiest way to think of these is as handy shortcuts. Instead of saying the same noun over and over and over again, we can just swap in a pronoun. It makes our language flow so much better and sound way less robotic. I mean, look, the point here is efficiency. We could say Nikki is Indian, Nikki is beautiful, but it just sounds repetitive and clunky, right? Using the pronoun she to replace Nikki makes the whole thing sound way more natural and keeps the conversation moving. Next, we've got our location blocks, prepositions. These little words are so important because they show the relationship between a noun and some other word in the sentence. They tell us exactly where or when something is. Check out this example. The preposition through tells us the exact relationship between the train and the tunnel. But here's the cool part. Change that one little word to over, under, or beside, and you get a completely different picture in your mind. That's the power of a preposition. And now for our connector blocks. Conjunctions are basically the glue of our language. These are the words that join other words or phrases or even entire sentences together, so we can create more complex and interesting ideas. This shows that process perfectly. You start with two separate ideas. I like cats and I like dogs. The conjunction and acts like a little bridge and lets us combine them into one much more efficient sentence. I like cats and dogs. And finally, our last piece, the one that's all about pure emotion, the interjection. These are our reaction blocks. They're just short bursts of feeling, like ouch, wow, or oh. They kind of stand apart from the grammar of the sentence, but they add a ton of personality. And there you have it, the 8 essential building blocks of the English language. From naming and action to describing and connecting, all the way to feeling. These 8 parts of speech are the complete blueprint. So the only question left is, what are you going to build with them?